Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, Peace Jones. Don't forget to like this video, to comment on this video, and to subscribe to this channel. Okay, you guys, today I have a nice heart-to-heart, human-to-human sit-down discussion to have with you guys. And yes, it is under the category, The Dating Chronicles, which you guys know is one of my topics that I cover on my channel, okay? So today I'm going to kind of talk about myself, my experiences, what I'm learning and unlearning, rather than talking to you guys and giving you guys advice. That's typically what I do in my sit down chats, especially when it comes to like dating advice. But today I'm actually going to give you guys the real on what's been going through my head, what I've been learning, what I've been unlearning, and what I've just been noticing, okay? Whether it be with me or with the people around me, watching, just like observing things, okay? So the topic of discussion today is going to be, I am still learning, okay? I feel like in life, no matter how old you get, no matter how wise you get, no matter how much experience you have, you are always learning. And it takes a smart person to say, hey, I'm not perfect. There's a lot I need to learn. There's a lot I need to adjust to. And there's a lot of change behavior that I can actually make on my part in order to help my relationships and my friendships and my family aspects and my work aspects. Okay, so that's what I've been doing lately as far as like unrealistic relationship expectations, okay? So you guys know that society, our family, our friends, TV shows, Disney movies have all kind of sold us this dream that relationships are a lot more perfect or a lot more on the ends of a fairy tale or a lot easier than they are, okay? So one thing I noticed a while ago was that it almost seems like people close to you don't want to give you the real on like marriage and what it really entails, or deep, long-lasting relationships and what it really entails, family life and what it really entails, parenting and what it really entails. It's always like a general statement that I feel like kind of sweeps a lot of things under the rug, and it leaves someone who is actually interested in building a happy, healthy family and a happy, healthy marriage kind of in the dust, right? Like it leaves us to kind of wonder what they're actually trying to say, or dismantle this puzzle that they're kind of like giving us pieces to, but no one wants to be straight up and say, hey, this is kind of what you're going to experience. My relationship is definitely going to be different than yours, but this is what you can kind of expect from marriage. This is what you can expect from a young marriage. This is what you can expect from a long-term relationship. This is what you can expect from trying to create a family dynamic and learning your husband, learning your wife, bringing two people together as one, and having to actually, go through those spats, work through them, communicate, talk it out, understand that your partner is going to have certain things about them that you might not love. Understand that you're going to have certain things about you that your partner may not love. And that it doesn't mean that you guys have to run away or give up or get upset, but rather focus on communicating those things, accepting those things, compromising, and moving forward to focus on bigger, more important aspects of your relationship, okay? So, as I said, I'm going to talk a bit about myself, okay? So let's talk about what I've noticed, okay? Now, I already told you that I've noticed that a lot of like people close to you, whether it be your friends, your aunt, your grandmother, whatever, they always give you that blanket statement that's like, well, it's work, or well, it's worth it if you want to put the time in, or well, it ain't easy, but it's a beautiful thing if it's done right, type of thing, right? So we notice that, and we notice that doesn't really help us out because you're not breaking it down and being transparent, right? Number two, I noticed that a lot of times we don't look at the fact that bringing two totally different humans with totally different mindsets, ideals, opinions, likes, dislikes, personality traits, characteristics together as one can be very challenging, as it should be, as it's expected to be, as it makes sense to be, right? If you think about it, let's take someone that you're in really close relation to, your mom, your brother, your aunt, right? You guys obviously love each other. Most of the times you guys grew up in the same household, lived together for years on end, 20 years, 18 years, whatever it may be. Now you think about all the times that you have fought with your sibling, you've disagreed with your sibling, you and your sibling have lived totally different lifestyles. I mean, I know my brother and I are opposites. Like, he's an introvert. He doesn't really like to be the center of attention. He doesn't really like to go out and party. He's not going to be caught in every mix and mingle and celebration. He just kind of does him. He's laid back. He's not super loud and goofy and crazy. I am, right? But are we going to fight each other because we have different lifestyles? No. Are we going to fight each other because we have different likes and dislikes? No. Do we have different opinions? Yes. Do we work differently? Yes. Do we have different ideals and morals and thoughts and maybe support different political parties? Yes. But if you focus on the number one factor in that relationship, which is love and support, y'all can make it work, right? Like, my brother and I grew up in the same household. We ain't never kill each other because, we were super different, right? Not to be that extreme, like you're going to kill your spouse or significant other, but I'm just saying, like, it didn't end in a horrible manner just because we were two totally different people, right? So basically what I'm getting at is, when you are with someone and you're trying to learn them, one thing that I'm starting to learn is that I need to be a lot more understanding and really grasp the concept that this person is not me. This person will never be me. And this person has no obligation to be like me. Now, of course, you need that compatibility aspect, right? Like, you can't just bring two people together that have nothing in common and force it to work, right? But if that compatibility aspect is there and you are still trying to force that person to think more like you, or to act more like you, or to like the things you like, that's not going to work, right? And I think that I realized that not too long ago, that I can be with someone and I can make it work with someone without wanting them to have so many similar traits and feeling like if they didn't, then maybe we weren't super compatible, right? Like, having compatibility and wanting someone to be very much so like you in thought and action and communication styles is just not realistic, right? Now, obviously, because you guys are so different, you have to come to a consensus or come to an agreement as to how you guys are going to maneuver, with his communication style being like this, yours being like that, his personality traits like this, yours like that, right? But it doesn't mean that you guys aren't compatible. It just means that you guys aren't the same people, right? So I noticed that, and I noticed that I really need to grasp that concept and move forward in that, knowing that just because this person doesn't think exactly like me, communicate exactly like me, process things exactly like me, it doesn't mean, oh, it's time to pack my bags because we're not compatible. And I think that's very important. Like, people mix up compatibility with identical mindsets and traits and beliefs, right? So another thing that I noticed is that we are all growing, and I'm 29, right? So that's the age range I date between, is like the 20s to the 30s. And even in your 30s, well into your 30s, even your 40s and 50s, sometimes you're still building your career. You're still building your lifestyle. You're still building your kingdom, your family. You're still healing. You're still processing. You have the ups and downs of life, right? And so I learned that just because I'm in a space where I feel content or I've accomplished certain things, so I'm kind of sitting easy for the moment, because life has its ups and downs. I might be sitting easy for 2 months and then have to put my time and effort into some new endeavor that I'm trying to get into in the next month, right? So with different people being in different stages of their lives, just because I'm at a more chill stage, I've learned that I cannot be unaware of and selfish about someone else's stage that they're in, right? And I've seen this before. I've seen where I may have been dating a guy that was like super into his investments, super into his businesses, and therefore not having a lot of time to hang out, not having a lot of time to put into me or dating, but still showing that he cared, still, making time, still making sure we went on dates, whatever. But in my mind, I am here. So I'm thinking, well, hey, I got weekends off, and hey, I can do a happy hour, and hey, we should go do this little quick weekend trip, not realizing like, hey, that doesn't work for him, right? Like, just because I'm in this stage of life that's more leisurely, laid back and chill, doesn't mean that he has to be there and he should just drop everything to meet me there, right? And currently, I've experienced something similar, right? Where I have to be aware of where one person is versus where I'm at, and not be so pushy or selfish or inconsiderate about, okay, this is what I want. This is what, my life is looking like. Because like I just said, life is unpredictable. There's been so many times in my life where I'm like, I'm going to do this next week. I'm going to do this next year. And then boom, new job, new requirements. I decided to start a business. I have to take on some unexpected family thing. I decide to move. Like, it's like life is so crazy, right? So like I said, it could be very temporary that I'm in this very chill, lax state. But imagine if the roles switch, because they will in a long-term relationship. Sometimes the guy will be the one who is making more money and a lot more busy. Sometimes the woman will be, and then it may switch, right? And so I know there'll be a time where maybe I'm the one who doesn't have as much time, and maybe I'm the one who's trying to focus on certain things. And I would want that same respect and consideration when it comes to, hey, we're definitely going to spend time. We're going to make time. We're going to, be together. But I have to focus on this business I'm trying to launch. I have to focus on, I don't know, taking care of my god kid that recently needed more of my time and attention, or I'm going back to school, or whatever it may be, right? So that's another thing that I've learned that I need to be very aware of, okay? And next, I've learned that a lot of these unrealistic expectations that we have been sold or taught, I'm learning that I'm going to have to learn as I go. And there's nothing wrong with that, okay? So I'm the type of person, I do like to be prepared. I do like to have like a manual for everything that I get into. I don't like to have to figure out certain things as I go, because I feel like, especially like relationships and dating, because I feel like there's so much room for you to want to give up, or the person that you're with to want to give up, because you guys didn't know what to expect. And once you realize that months or years later, it's kind of like, damn, I wish I hadn't have given up so easily, or I wish he hadn't or she hadn't have given up so easily. But we really were unaware of like what all it took. I don't know if that makes sense, but I feel like it did. So basically, I'm learning that with this relationship and this dating thing, you have to actually take it step by step, day by day, and you have to learn. You have to make mistakes. You have to allow the other person to make mistakes, and you have to create your own reality and your own idea of what you want and what you expect. You have to literally scratch what you've been told you deserve, all the people in your ear that are saying, oh no, leave her, she did this and that, or oh no, leave him, he did this and that. You have to literally like clear your head and unlearn a lot of the things that you've been told or taught, and then relearn your own reality and your own expectations, right? Because as we know, like, we are both adults, whoever you're dating, you and the next person. And adulthood requires a lot of effort just to keep yourself afloat, right? So then when you add someone else into the picture, it's like you have to be realistic with what you're expecting, right? Like, you cannot keep going with these like immature thoughts. It's like, okay, Bill works 12 hours a day, every day, no days off, trying to grind, trying to put money and capital towards his business. Bill has, I don't know, a kid, and Bill takes care of his aunt who's sick, and Bill is also in law school. Like, all these things are going on with Bill, and yet you are having these expectations that you're letting society, like the Disney movies, or like celebrities, or like your friends, tell you and put in your head, oh no, girl, like, he didn't buy you this and that for Valentine's Day. My man bought me this. You should reconsider being with him. Or, oh girl, you remember so-and-so used to treat you better. Maybe you should go back with him. Or, oh, did you see that Jada Waiter's boyfriend got her a new Ferrari? That's the type of stuff you need. Like, you cannot let these unrealistic thoughts keep entering your head, because if you do, you're never going to be satisfied, and you're never going to get to see your relationship really blossom, because you're so caught up in what could be better, what more could be done, what you deserve. And in actuality, a lot of times people that really get the most out of their relationships and reap those benefits, they've been through a lot of sacrificing, loving, supporting, without having, these constant gifts, or this constant instant gratification, or these constant like reassurance and kind words. And I'm not saying that you don't deserve that. And I'm definitely not promoting struggle love. But what I'm saying is, sometimes you do have to sit it out and wait for your girlfriend to finish law school before you guys can go on a vacation every year. Sometimes you do have to set it out and wait for your dude to finish launching his business, get some actual good clientele, get the money back from his business that he invested, whatever it may be, right? And what I've learned there is that if nobody's going to tell me straight up and be honest about what I should expect in a relationship, or a long-term relationship, or a marriage, then I need to start figuring out what is realistic to expect, right? And that's hard. It's hard for you to literally have no clue about marriage, have no clue about, long-term relationships, even though I've been in a few long-term relationships, no more than 2.5 years, but still, that was a little, I guess, taste of what it could be like, right? But for someone who, I've never been married, right? So I really don't know what I'm going to get into. I've never been in a long-term relationship like 5 or 10 years. So I really don't know how to navigate that. But what else do I do? Do I continue to follow this fairy tale that my friends are painting, or that society's painting, or that social media is painting, and just run myself into a wall because I end up chasing someone away because I'm constantly thinking that I need things that aren't really realistic for me at the moment, and aren't really gonna fill any type of void or make anything better at the moment? Or do I say, hey, let me look at this from a realistic standpoint. Let me look at what's really going to be significant and important in this relationship. Let me figure out where my head is at. You know, am I being truthful? Am I being realistic? Am I being selfish? Am I being considerate? Am I compromising? If I put myself in this person's shoes, would I like this? Am I being respectful? Blah, blah, blah. So that's another thing that I've realized, is that I have to create my own reality, and I have to basically look at what I have in front of me and figure out what is realistic for that plan, right? And not what is realistic in someone else's life, or what is to be expected from Cinderella and the dude she was with at the ball or whatever, right? So that's very important as well, because you can't beg people to tell you what it's really like. And if the only advice you're getting from people that are in these situations is, oh, you'll figure it out, or, oh, you know, it's work, but if you just put God first, or, oh, blah, like, that's not helping anyone. Like, let's be realistic. If somebody came to you and said that they wanted to buy a house, and you tell them, oh, just pray about it, or you tell them, oh, well, you know, if it's meant to be, like, come on. How is that going to help somebody successfully buy a home? Like, come on. So that's kind of how I look at this, is I got to do my own research. I got to do my own trial and error. I listen to a lot of like relationship podcasts. I listen to people that are open and honest, that aren't sugarcoating things, that are, you know, putting real relationship aspects out there on the table for you to think about, for you to try and like fix before you get to that point, for you to just be aware and prepared for, you know what I mean? Because it's not easy. It's not as easy as people make it seem. And it's definitely, I believe, worth it. But I think it's going to take two people that want it and want to make those changes and want to adjust their behavior and want to hold themselves accountable in order for a relationship to really blossom and grow, and not always be constant bickering, for those arguments to turn into real communication where you're actually coming up with real plans and real, you know, apologies and real change behavior, rather than just, hey, let's argue. Okay, cool. Hey, let's argue again. Okay, cool. You know what I mean? So those are all things that I have noticed, and I feel like I said I'm still learning. I actually had a talk with one of my friends recently, and she just brought so much like relief to me, because she has been in a really long relationship. She's actually engaged now, and I'm friends with both her and her fiance. Known them both for a really long time. Two amazing people. And I see how much they put into their relationship. I see how much they care to like strengthen their bond and work things out, and not just give up and not just be rude to one another. I'm not saying they're perfect, and I don't know the ins and outs of their relationship, but from what I see two people that genuinely want it to work. They genuinely have love and respect for each other, and despite the ups and downs in navigating a relationship, especially a long-term one, even up until their marriage, they are still putting in that work and adjusting and fixing and, you know, just really trying to get to a good point, right? And I was talking to her, and I was just telling her, like, you know, I honestly am still trying to get a grasp on like what this is supposed to be like. What am I supposed to expect? Like, I'm scared kind of, because I'm like, sheesh, like, imagine going into something and you just don't know like what to expect. Like, I don't know what to expect in marriage. Like, I'm kind of scared, because married people always be like, just don't do it. It's tough, da da da. And it's like you have no guidance, no rule book, because all of your friends are just kind of like not giving you any type of insight, right? And so basically, once I was chatting with her, she just really broke some things down to me that made a lot of sense. And I was really appreciative of her transparency. And she was saying how, like, even to this day, her and her fiance work on things. They've downloaded some app that basically helps them, like, communicate better. And yeah, like she was saying, it's not easy. Like, being with another person, adjusting to another person, considering another person is just not the easiest thing to do in this world. But of course, it's worth it. Of course, you have those tough times. But like I said, if two people want it, you get through it. So those are my thoughts. Thank you to my friend, I'm sure she's watching this, for actually, you know, being raw and transparent and giving me that bit of knowledge and just like ease and reassurance. Because I think a lot of times, you know, people think that what they're going through, they're the only ones going through it. They're the only ones who have been through it, right? And what we fail to realize is just because that other couple is smiling and looking happy, they could be going through the same thing or worse. Or maybe they've been through it and they've talked it out, communicated, and now they've gotten over it, right? But we seem to think that the struggles that we face in life, we're the first ones to face it, or we're the ones with the worst bout of it. And that's not true. And so it feels good to have someone say like, hey, yeah, you know, we've had our ups and downs, or yeah, we've experienced this and that, and you have to work through it. So really appreciate that. Once again, shout out to you and thank you. And you guys, that pretty much concludes the things that I have considered and realized and been really like brainstorming and working on in my head lately. If anything else pops up, I can go ahead and make a part 2 to this video. So basically, I just wanted to make this video for anyone who is having the same issue, you know, having the same thought or struggle or, you know, bit of confusion about relationships. Through and through, dating, marriage, what to expect. Even the people that are not dating at the moment, and it's because they have had to heal from some things, or they've been really thinking about whether or not it's worth it, or they know there's things about themselves that they need to change before they get back out there. You know, the people that are in a relationship right now and they're wondering, should they just give up? Or the people that are on their way to marriage and they're wondering if it's right. Like, this is just for those people that think, that try to, you know, make positive changes within themselves, that don't think that it's always the other person doing something. And for the people that just really do desire a strong, healthy relationship, but know that something ain't right with what society been telling us, because that can really confuse you. If you're going through this, but society been saying it's supposed to be like this, I think a lot of people let go of decent partners because they think that it's supposed to be a fairy tale. And then once they realize that the relationship was never going to be perfect, because no relationship is perfect, then they're like, oh shoot, maybe Max wasn't that bad. Maybe Sally wasn't that bad. But by that time, sometimes Max and Sally then found someone else. So I personally don't want to end up in that situation, which is why I have been giving thought to certain things and just trying to understand things and make things make sense for me. So I hope this helped someone or a lot of people. And comment below, let me know what you think, let me know what you've experienced, let me know, have you given up on love and relationships? Have you ever been in a long-term relationship? What struggles and what pros and cons you may have faced? Are you married? Are you divorced? Are you single? Are you afraid to date? Do you feel like you have what it takes to work through a long-term relationship? Let me know below, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.